Welcome to the second part of my series on the 7 essential digital marketing tactics for vet clinics and veterinary clinics. If you haven't listened to the first one, go back and listen to it. You don't have to listen to the first one to get things out of the second one, but it is a series of 7. I'd highly recommend that you listen to all 7 of them. I'm doing this series because I've worked with a lot of veterinary clinics, and there's a lot of confusion out there in terms of what works, what doesn't work, what is important, what is not important for their business when it comes to digital marketing. I'm not saying that there's misinformation out there. I'm just saying that there's just a lot of information out there. And since there's a lot of information out there, it's really hard to digest and bring it all together and make it useful for your business, right? So I put this series together to help you as the veterinary clinic understand what are the main things that you need to do for your business when it comes to digital marketing, what are the things that I need to focus on, and things like that. And so as part of the 7 essential digital marketing tactics for vet clinics, in the first one, I talked about the website, location pages, and reviews. In this episode, I'm going to talk about SEO and content marketing, as well as email newsletter and how to leverage that to bring more patients to your clinic. And then in the third episode, which is going to be the next episode, I'm going to talk about social media and paid media and how to leverage those opportunities to get more patients through the door and keep your booking calendar full and serve your community and get as much business as you can for your clinic. So with that, let's get started on part 2 of the 7 essential digital marketing tactics for vet clinics. Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market. I'm your host, Silas Kimide. In this podcast, I talk about all things digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO and PPC, as well as paid advertising, email marketing, social media, and anything in between. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. So tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll gain some practical insights, new strategies, tactics, and tools that will help you grow your business. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and select the podcast app of your choice. Then you can hit subscribe within those apps. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review in the app once you've listened to one of our episodes. So this is part 2 of the 7 essential digital marketing tactics for veterinary clinics. And in this part, we're going to talk about number 4, which is SEO and content marketing, right? SEO stands for search engine optimization, which basically means how do you get visibility on a search engine, right? You can't just put stuff out there and then expect Google or Bing or another search engine to rank your content and display your content, right? DuckDuckGo, that's what I was thinking of. DuckDuckGo is another search engine. So there's a few things that you need to do when it comes to SEO, and I lump SEO with content marketing because my experience is the more content that you have, the better your SEO is, and not just quantity, quality, right? So let's break this down. We're going to talk about SEO first, right? So basically, SEO is the on-page SEO, which is maybe an industry term that we use in digital marketing, right? SEO is the basics. The basic is on-site SEO is like the blocking and tackling of doing SEO. It's football season right now. We're all watching football, right? And when those blockers up front miss a block and that quarterback gets sacked, who do you blame? Do you blame the quarterback for not getting the ball out, or do you blame the tackle or whoever is blocking, right? So you got to do the blocking and tackling really well in order for your team to be successful. So on-page SEO are things like your headline, your description, your meta descriptions, your alt tags, keyword placement, your first sentence of your paragraph, first paragraph, and things like that. There's a whole list of things that you just need to have optimized. And what I mean by optimized is if you are, to go back to my previous episode's example, if you are a Southtown veterinary clinic located in, let's say Brownsville, just making that up, Brownsville, right? You need to have that information front and center, right? You need to say Southtown Veterinary Clinic in Brownsville as maybe your headline or maybe your sub-headline. Or the first paragraph needs to say, we serve Brownsville, Missouri. I don't know if there's a Brownsville, Missouri. So if you're listening from Brownsville, Missouri, I'd like to hear from you because I just made that up. So anyway, so that's what I mean by on-page SEO is you got to make sure that all those little details on the homepage, on the service page is very, very well laid out, right? So if you're, so anyway, which brings up the second point is what is your focus keyword? You need to have a list of keywords that you're really focused on. And don't make a list of 100 keywords. You can't possibly optimize for 100 keywords. Make a list of about 10 to 15 really, really relevant keywords for your clinic, right? So maybe you're focused on cats, maybe cat diabetes or pet health or whatever your words are, right? Make a list. Your location should be in there. Your name should be in there. Your major service area should be in there. And maybe your doctor's names are in there as well. Maybe because doctors switch clinics. So you got to be, unless you're the owner, you got to be a little bit careful about that. But then when you have a focused list, you can use those keywords to optimize your site, to do that on-site SEO that I mentioned earlier. And then you need to create, based off of those keywords, you need to create a list of topics that you're going to write about, right? So, like, should I, and it doesn't always have to be technical stuff, right? Maybe you live in Phoenix, and I did a lot of work for veterinary clinics in Phoenix, and so it gets hot there, right? So can you take your dog on a hike? Name the mountain that they're going to take it to, right? It's a great topic. People are searching for that kind of stuff. And you as a veterinary clinic, if you have some pointers on the 7 things that you need to do to make sure that your pet is ready, your dog is ready for a hike in August, and maybe the answer is no, don't take your dog for a hike in August, or maybe you don't want any of that kind of information. Just, I'm not saying give medical advice. I'm not saying give, anything specific, medical related. Don't set yourself up for any liability or anything like that. But people can give advice, right? You can say, hey, it may be a good idea to do this, this, and this. You may want to not do that. This is not advice. You can say all that stuff. But the point is, you're associating your veterinary clinic with a problem that pet owners have in a local area with specific local keyword topics or keywords. Great strategy. It works really well. I've seen clinics do all kinds of things. The other one is, anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But call me if you want to hear some of these stories. And I might have covered it in some of my other podcasts as well. What I'm trying to get at is value-driven topics that are answering questions for your patients and your prospects, questions that they're already asking Google, because we ask Google everything. Like when my daughter, this is back 15 years ago, my 2 or 3 year old daughter at the time, started saying, ask Google. That's the kind of generation we have now. Everybody asks Google. So if they're thinking about, going on a hike in Utah with their pet, they're probably going to go and ask Google. So it's good if you show up there as the one giving the answer. So produce content that's relevant to your audience with a very high keyword focus, high keyword density, optimize your site, and then distribute your content on social media so it's available on Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, Instagram is images, but maybe you can also leave a long comment, things like that. So distribute your content, put it in your email newsletter, online directories, wherever you can distribute it, and things like that. And then also, when it comes to SEO and content marketing, you need to be looking at Google Analytics and also Google Search Console. I did an episode on both of those platforms. I have done, actually, I would say multiple episodes on those, so you can look through my archive to find where you might learn more about Google Analytics and Google Search Console. But those two pieces of back-end software can be very, very helpful in determining what is working, how are the keywords, are the right keywords driving the right traffic, which content pieces are doing well, which content pieces do I need to maybe rewrite and redo, and things like that. So that would be my advice on that, on the SEO and content marketing. You can get into a rhythm on these things. So I'm not saying do it all at once. Maybe this month you just focus on getting the keywords written up, right? These are the keywords I'm going to do. And then next month you can maybe run your site through, let's say, SEMrush or some of the other tools out there, and then find areas where you need to improve. If you are using WordPress, there's a plugin called SEO Yoast. Install it. Run that on your main pages. It gives you tips on what you need to improve. And then using your keywords, rewrite content, optimize your site. And then maybe month 3, month 4, you start making a list of all of your topics that you're going to write about. And then month 6, you start writing your topics. Month 7, you start posting your topics. So don't do all of this at once. It's hard to do all at once. Or you could hire a firm, that does it for you. That's also an option, which, that's the recommendation that I would have, because it can be a little overwhelming for veterinary clinics to take this on themselves, because there's a lot of nuances that pop up, learning how to use these scanning software, learning how to use WordPress backend plugins, things like that. So that's tactic number 4. Again, remember, we're in our 7 essential digital marketing tactics for vet clinics. SEO and content marketing was tactic number 4. So now let's go on to tactic number 5. Tactic number 5 is email newsletter. And I grouped these two together in one episode because a lot of times sending email newsletters can seem like a daunting task. Where am I going to get the content? So as part of your SEO content strategy, I gave you a little bit of a timeline. Maybe after the first year of putting out some really good content, then it's time to start an email newsletter, right? So because you can use that same content. Some of those content pieces could be evergreen pieces that you've written, right? And you could always reuse those. And so your email newsletter could be, here are the top 2 blog posts from our blog. You put snippets of it, and then maybe a final section on reminders of checkups, regular visits, why you need to do XYZ. Maybe that's the part that's different. And then at the end, you have a footer and all that kind of stuff. So you can organize your newsletter any way you want, but that would be one way to do it, leveraging the content that you've already created, right? But before you do that, you need to start building a list. And I would recommend building a list right away. Your patient management system, depending on what you're using, you're already collecting email addresses. Not all of those patient management systems have great email sending platforms and all that kind of stuff. I would connect it to something like MailChimp or Constant Contact, and then get those email addresses in there and then send it through those guys. Because that's all they do, and they do a really, really good job of getting your emails delivered, and also giving you pointers on what you need to do on your email to make sure that your email gets delivered and your address is not marked as spam, and things like that. So you can also use something like HubSpot, which might be a little more difficult to use because it's more of a CRM, but again, if you've got a patient management system that you're already using, and you're already collecting email addresses, One thing on the email addresses, though, is segment them as much as you can. Cat owner, dog owner, maybe they own both. Maybe they're a exotic pet owner. Maybe they're a referring veterinary clinic. Maybe there's some specialization within your field that you need to kind of stay in touch with. And it's very easy to add a tag, add a category in these platforms so that an email address is associated with a category. You can have multiple categories per email. But where I'm going with this is, let's say in 3 years you have 3,000 email addresses, and you have specific things you want to say to specific folks. Maybe you want to remind cat owners about something, or maybe you're no longer offering exotic pets, and you want to communicate that to your patients that have exotic pets. And I say that because I saw a veterinary clinic, potential client of mine. We were talking, and they were battling a slew of patients that were upset that they were not informed that a particular service was being taken away. So yeah, having a segmented email list that you can use to communicate changes to your practice, changes to your service offering, can be very useful. So segment those email lists, and then be very, very strategic about the way in which you put your content together, and send it once a month, maybe twice a month. I have a lot of people. I'm a little bit old school. I think once a month should be enough, but some of the newer guys I'm talking to that do digital marketing say, twice a month is also not a bad idea, because I guess we get inundated with so much information that we don't really care, and we lose track of time. So if we're getting it every 2 weeks, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as I think. But I recommend putting it together once a month, because it does take time to put together, and trying to maintain that every other week schedule might be a little bit much for you. But some other things that you could do on an email newsletter is you could include promotional offers. You could introduce your new vet technicians or veterinarians that have joined your practice, new services that you've added, or services that are no longer available. You can use that email list for appointment reminders, which I think a lot of the patient management systems do anyway. They send it by email. They also send it by text. Make sure that's set up. And then the other thing that, going back to my tactic number 3, which is in my other episode, you can also ask for reviews using your email newsletter as well, right? And you can ask them, you can be very clever about the way you ask them. You could have it as a footer at the bottom saying, satisfied with our service? Leave a review. Not satisfied? Call us. Something like that, That way it kind of subtly gets your satisfied people writing reviews and your unsatisfied people calling you and giving you feedback over the phone, yelling at you over the phone, private situation versus blasting it off all over the internet, right? So anyway, so that's the email newsletter. Email newsletters are very, very undervalued by business owners, but very, very highly valued by people that receive them. So I have seen many clinics send out, very, very, what they think mundane email newsletters, and patients walking in with a printed copy of the newsletter saying, hey, I want this or I want that, and things like that. So don't hesitate to send it out on a regular basis. Put valuable information in there, segment your list, and make it educational, ask for reviews, make it a way to promote other services and things like that. And so that's how you can leverage your email newsletter. So that's pretty much episode number 2 here. We talked about SEO and content marketing. We also talked about the email newsletter, and that's the second. This is the second part of my series. So hopefully this has been. I trust that this information has been very helpful for you. In my next episode, I'm going to talk about social media and paid media, how to leverage those for your business. And again, this is part of the 7 essential digital marketing tactics for vet clinics. So with that, I say happy marketing, and I'll see you on part 3.
If you're a small business owner, a marketer in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. You'll become better educated and informed when it comes to digital marketing. And if you implement the strategies, tactics, and tools I discuss in this podcast, your business will grow and prosper. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. You can also search for Corner Your Market in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast, and you can subscribe through those apps. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review. Finally, I would love to hear from you, so if you have any questions, feedback, or general comments about the topics I discuss, feel free to send me an email. I will be sure to share and discuss your feedback on the air if it will benefit our listening audience. You can write to me at connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Just put listener comment in the subject line. That email again is connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. I look forward to being back next week. Until then, be good and do good.